Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This week I want to talk about the lonely chapter, and that is a term I learned not too long ago. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's the period in your life where you take on a new hobby, interest, pursue new goals, become a different person basically, and that pursuit takes you on a different path than other people in your life, and that can make you feel very isolated and lonely. But it happens to everyone, and it most naturally happens when you become an adult. So, happens typically after you graduate from school, university, change jobs, the environment and the people around you, people who surround you on a daily basis change, and you change as a person. And I think as you get older, this feeling just amplifies because most parents and older people that I know don't have very many close friends. Like, they drift apart from their friends over time, and they see their friends less and less until the point where they just don't see them anymore. And I think although everyone says it's a natural part of life, it is something that's a little sad to think about, especially as someone who is just freshly being introduced to this new way of life, I guess. In a way, it's kind of like outgrowing the people in your life. Outgrowing might not be the right term, but changing to a point where people that were previously in your life just no longer really fit into your life, and they don't really understand your life anymore, and you don't understand theirs. If you understand that you are outgrowing or changing too much to be a part of other people's lives, then why does it still hurt so much? You can't rely on those people in your life forever. That's what I was doing for a very long time. I had an issue with letting go of people in my life that no longer really fit into my life, like friends, romantic relationships, things that no longer served me. I was holding on to them because of how used to it and how familiar it was to me and comforting. Like I was saying, if it is inevitable and meant to happen in life, why does it hurt so much? It's still gonna hurt regardless, because you love and care about these people, and you've met them at some point in your life when you were a different person, when they were a different person. It doesn't matter, you still loved and cared for them at one point, and you hope that they love and care about you too in the same way. But not everyone is like you, not everyone thinks like you, not everybody loves like you and understands you. Sometimes people just feel comfortable knowing the version of you that they knew in the past, and if you've changed too much and don't really align with their interests anymore, goals, values, you don't share like the same views in the world anymore, you don't have the same interests, you don't really understand the other person's perspective anymore, and you feel like they don't understand yours. That just happens naturally in life, and that's okay. It happens to everyone. So when does this really happen? It usually happens, like I said, after a huge life change, like graduating from school or university, college, moving jobs, moving cities, start a new career, new hobby, change your lifestyle. People find it difficult to accept or become comfortable with a new version of you, a version of you that they don't know, that they're not familiar with. I think it's so difficult to accept because as a kid, when you drift apart from people, it usually means that something went wrong, like you guys had a conflict, or you guys just don't like each other anymore, something happened, something dramatic, and a big falling out, right? But as an adult, it's more so just people drifting apart because of their priorities in life, because your interests are too different, because your lives are just way too different, so that when you hang out, like, it doesn't feel the same as it used to. You have nothing to talk about anymore. You don't really have the same values, interests, priorities in life, and that's such a natural part of life. I feel like as a kid, not being friends with someone anymore usually meant like something bad happened. You know, one person doesn't like the other, one person has an issue with another person, and sometimes it's just because people have changed. Whether or not something has happened in their life, it doesn't have to be a big traumatic event that occurred, or it doesn't have to be a big blow up fight. It can just be simply that one person went through something bad and it changed who they were, and it changed the way they see life and the people that they want to associate with, the people that they feel that they can relate to and lean on for support. It's changed. So that naturally made me wonder, why can't people just be supportive and accept that people have changed and support this new version of you, this happy version of you that has become a different person? Why can't everyone just stay in touch and be one big happy friend group or family of support? And that's, of course, a very, I think, naive way to think. And I don't like that word naive, because when people say it, it typically is said in a very condescending way, like that you are naive and don't know any better, and that you would only make mistakes because you're so inexperienced and foolish and naive. I think there's something nice about being naive. It's like this innocence that a lot of people don't have anymore, right? Like hoping for the best, assuming the best in people, hoping that things could be just like the way they were forever. But that's just not the way things are. Friends drift apart for many reasons. People in life drift apart for many reasons. And that's just something people in life have to accept. That's something that I have to accept as well, or something that I have had to accept. Whether it be conscious or subconscious, change and the unknown make people uncomfortable. It's like a natural human response. People fear the unknown, whether it be subconscious or conscious, making the decision to not be in your life. It's because of fear, and fear of the unknown. If not fear, judgment. I feel that judgment comes from a place of fear, fearing that your worst case scenario, the worst possible outcome is true in your head, and just accepting it before it can be done to you. Like basically judging somebody based on something they did and assuming they're mean. It's like assuming that they're mean to protect yourself in the case that they are mean to you, so you don't feel hurt, you don't feel caught off guard, that you weren't prepared for something. I think judgment is like preparing yourself for the worst type scenario in your head. And I think it's totally fair. I think it's a natural response, but it's something, if you're aware of it, you can change. Personally, no matter how naive it sounds, I want to be a part of my friend's life, no matter how different and how changed we become throughout life. Because I don't want to lose people in my life just because we have very different perspectives of the world, and we have different careers, and we have different views on major topics in life, like getting married, having kids, politics, hobbies, interests. I don't want that to be a reason why people drift apart in my life. So I actively try to avoid it, but naturally it happens. So that's what they call the lonely chapter. And I've had to kind of let go of this hope, this like idealistic mindset, because you start to lose yourself when you are trying to make things work between things that just don't naturally work, things that don't feel comfortable, things that don't make sense. Like say you have a friend that really likes to party and really likes to drink and do things like that, but your focus in life is, fitness, wellness, health, diet. It becomes very difficult for you to have common ground, even to spend time together. And while you can try once in a while to maneuver around all these obstacles, like, find a decent meeting point, like maybe go to a park and go on a walk together, maybe just have like a conversation over FaceTime, or like just catch up in a way where it doesn't make either person disregard their goals and values in life, and still respect each other's boundaries and make each other comfortable and that sort of thing. But then it requires so much brain power, right, to think about each of these little details for each friend, for each situation, for everything, for all your friends in your life. And that's where it becomes like a trade-off. It's like, is it really worth it to give so much of your energy and lose yourself to keep people that were never meant to be in your life, or stay in your life? Sometimes, I guess what I'm saying is that people are meant to come and go in your life, and you kind of have to accept it. There are things deeper than just like superficial connections, like a connection you really can't lose, like family, or like a best friend from your childhood that just knows everything about you. Like, there's definitely a trade-off you have to consider with prioritizing yourself and also valuing your friends and valuing your connections in life, and also respecting your priorities and your life goals. As long as you and the people in your life, no matter how different they are, no matter how difficult it can feel to try to keep people in your life, as long as people are supporting each other, whether it be from a distance or being very close friends, staying in very close contact, it doesn't matter, as long as people in your life are supportive of you and you are supportive of them. That's what really matters, because unsupportive friends are really what's holding you back. Is people that don't understand you and don't want to understand you, that you really need to watch out for. Like the people that make you feel scared to pursue your dreams and make you feel like you can't do what you want to do in life because it's different than what they want to do. They put down your choices and your views and goals, and those are the people that you need to remove from your life and you need to not put your energy towards, because they're poisoning your confidence and your progress in life. I guess keep the people that, whether or not they're different or very similar, like-minded to you in your life, that make you feel proud that you have come such a long way, that remind you of who you used to be and how far you've come, and applaud you and uplift you and remind you of all this good progress you're making. You know, it's like, I don't know if anything I'm saying really makes sense to you guys or resonates with you, but the point is, you're not responsible for making other people feel comfortable that you have changed as a person. It's natural to feel uncomfortable when your friends or your friends might feel uncomfortable if you've changed, but the real important piece is acceptance and support. That's the kind of people you need in your life and should make the effort to keep in your life. Despite this lonely chapter being so different that you feel like people don't understand you anymore, even if they tried, couldn't really like understand and give you the support like you need. You can't really expect that of people the older you get, because everyone is on such a different path in life. And that really focusing on your goals just is a part of growing up and maturing. You can't expect people to be in your life forever. I think being happy with what I'm doing and achieving the goals in my life, no matter how lonely I feel, replaces that fear I have of losing people in my life. Because I've already, one, prioritized the people that are good for me in my life, and two, I have focused and prioritized my goals and what I want out of life, because at the end of the day, really, it doesn't matter how many people you have around you if you're not there for yourself. And then number three, you're just living life as your authentic self. So really, in the end, all you have in life for certain is yourself. And I think I've repeated that so many times on this channel already, but you guys need to know that's the truth. At the end of the day, you can't guarantee anyone's presence or connection in your life except yourself, your relationship with yourself. That's number one, and the only one that you will have guaranteed for the rest of your life. So if that's the case, why don't people cherish that more? Why do I have such a hard time sometimes cherishing and listening to my goals and needs and wants? I don't know. That's something that takes more reflection. And something else that is related to this that I was thinking about a lot is not only the struggle of keeping friends as an adult, but making friends. Making friends after becoming a full-blown adult with adult responsibilities like paying your bills and having a job and working your job and juggling all these priorities in your life, is how to make friends. How to make friends that align with your goals. How to make friends that align with your life and make sense for your life. Personally, I can count the number of friends I've made as an adult. I think the number is probably lower than 1. That is 0, first of all. After school, like after university, I have not made any friends unless you count coworkers, and I don't really count coworkers because they're not really deep connections. They're not people you talk to outside of the regular work hours that you have. So although a lot of people consider their coworkers their friends, and I do in some capacity as well, that's not exactly, I think, the ideal definition of friend for me. For me, I want somebody that understands me on a deeper level in life, and not just in my career or my day-to-day job or somewhere that I can't fully be myself. I don't know how other people do it. I can't be close friends with my coworkers. I think it's really my job environment that makes me say that, because a lot of my friends from school and people my age make friends at work, make lifelong best friends at work. And I just have not had that opportunity. I have very good working relationships with my colleagues and my managers, and it's great, but like, for example, I go to gym classes, I go to the gym, I have met people there, but nothing really that sparks deep, meaningful connection. And I think the issue is partly me. I'm not good with initiating, with deepening connections outside of like people I have to see very regularly without a choice, like coworkers and friends that I already have established in my life through school. And I'm just not good at, I guess, putting myself intentionally in places and connecting with people and making that first move of like hanging out outside of the regular place you see somebody, like texting someone that you met at the gym if they want to meet up for coffee or like go out to a festival. I really try, but I find it hard to pull the trigger at times. Like, just do it, you know? And I guess that's a wake-up call for me. I need to be doing that. I need to be making the first move more. I have acknowledged how difficult it is to actually make the first move, yet I never do it. I've had other people do it, but for some reason I find it difficult to trust people that I meet outside of a school setting, which, I mean, I don't know if that's smart or not smart. You know, I just have a very difficult time with that. Anyways, something that I need to work on as well. And making friends as an adult in general, I know how hard it is. It is famously known how difficult it is. I'm not the type of person who is good at it by any means. Making that first move and trying to extend that branch. Hey, I want to be friends. Like, there's a lot of people I've met that I think are cool and want to be closer friends with, yet I find it so intimidating to speak to them or to ask them to hang out outside of our regular environment that we're in, like work or the gym, things like that. I find it so difficult when there's pressure on it. When I really want to become friends with someone, it adds so much pressure rather than the friends I have in my life. I never had the expectation of becoming friends with someone before I actually did. It just naturally developed. There was no risk involved. And now it's like, if I ask this person and they say no, that's gonna be heartbreaking and annoying and hurt me. So I guess that's just something I have to work on. If you guys have any other suggestions for how to make friends as an adult, let me know. Like-minded, supportive friends that you meet at places that you really like being at. Anyways, this is the final makeup look, guys. I'm done. Comb my hair. This started off as a good pep talk and then ended up as me spiraling into like, how am I gonna make friends as an adult? I have made zero since the 2 years that I have graduated. I want to make more friends. Anyways, thanks guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more, and see you in the next one. Bye.